The Russian soldier fired all the rounds in his weapon, but despite his efforts, was unable to hit the drone. Now left completely defenseless, he was thrown into panic, unsure of what to do. The FPV drone rapidly advanced toward the Russian soldier. Unable to cross to the other side because of the wires, he was left exposed in the open field with no cover. After a few unsuccessful maneuvers, he became the direct focus of the FPV drone. 2 Russian soldiers were detected in a field by the Incognito Group of Ukraine's 54th Mechanized Brigade. The first soldier noticed the drone early and attempted to flee, but the drone reached him before he could make it to the cover of the trees. The second Russian soldier had been hiding among the tall grass. However, when the drone approached, he immediately stood up, but there was not enough time to retreat, leaving him exposed to the drone. You can support us by liking and commenting on the video. Russian drone operators positioned inside a building were detected by Ukraine's 3rd Assault Brigade. When one Russian soldier stepped outside to deploy a drone, he noticed the Ukrainian reconnaissance drone observing him and immediately retreated indoors. Ukrainian FPV drones then swiftly carried out strikes with high explosive payloads on 2 separate apartments where the Russian soldiers were located. On August 13, 2025, Ukrainian drone operators from the 63rd Mechanized Brigade struck Russian infantry positions in Toska. Russian soldiers had fortified themselves in abandoned buildings, using them as defensive strongpoints, which were then targeted and destroyed by Ukrainian FPV kamikaze drone strikes. In the TSA area, a high concentration of Russian troops has been reported, but relentless Ukrainian FPV drone attacks continue to force them out. The precision and rapidity of these strikes leave Russian forces little chance to regroup or reinforce their positions. These operations illustrate how Ukrainian drone teams are systematically degrading Russian combat effectiveness in contested zones. Ukrainian fiber-optic FPV drones from the 30th Mechanized Brigade pursued a Russian military vehicle. Despite the truck's attempts at evasive maneuvers, it was too late to escape. The Russian soldier quickly abandoned the vehicle, and the unmanned drones successfully neutralized it. Ukraine's 413th U.S. Battalion conducted a raid that disrupted Russian logistics in the Kharkiv direction. Russian military vehicles transporting ammunition and reinforcements to the front line were systematically targeted by drones while moving along ambush supply routes. Ukrainian strikes on Russian logistics forced Russian troops on the front line into difficult positions. Lacking sufficient ammunition and essential supplies, they faced growing operational challenges. Russian soldiers were compelled to withdraw from their positions. 2 Russian soldiers on an ATV were unaware they were being tracked by a Ukrainian FPV drone, and their movement was quickly cut short. The drone then targeted 2 Russian soldiers on motorcycles, who were moving quickly but could not outrun it, leaving them exposed. A Russian military truck also became a target. Before the soldiers could exit, the drone struck the vehicle, aiming directly at the driver's cabin. The Ukrainian 210th Separate Assault Regiment, together with neighboring units, conducted an operation in the southern suburbs of Stepanhursk in southern Ukraine. Kamikaze drone strikes were carried out against Russian soldiers stationed inside buildings. As the strikes continued, Russian soldiers panicked and attempted to move to other structures. However, the locations they chose for cover were repeatedly targeted by drones. The operation to clear the area of Russian forces continued for hours. Abandoned buildings were repeatedly targeted by drones, with strikes persisting until no further Russian troop movements were detected. Drones were not the only assets used. Ukrainian infantry also carried out explosive strikes on the buildings, actively supporting the operation. During this mission, reports indicate that 17 Russian soldiers were neutralized within hours, while numerous others were forced to withdraw from the area. On August 14, 2025, a long-range UAV struck a multi-story building in Rostov, Russia. The drone, moving directly toward a designated target, caused a powerful explosion. The unit responsible for the strike and the intended objective have not yet been confirmed. Ukraine's 20th UAS Regiment K-2 targeted Russian forces in the direction of Sivir, neutralizing tanks, logistics vehicles, reinforced infantry positions, and personnel. Russian infantry continued to move exposed across the terrain, leaving them vulnerable to drone strikes. In a short period of time, Pasapaki operators deployed anti-aircraft FPV drones to strike 50 MA units. These rapid and precise attacks disrupted Russian air operations and rendered many targets ineffective before they could respond. The success of these drones highlighted the expanding role of unmanned systems in controlling airspace and delivering tactical advantages on the battlefield.